Welcome to Intermerifica, New Mexico, the channel where we look at questions of wonder from the perspectives of faith and reason, philosophy and theology. I'm your host, Daniel Kelly, and welcome back. This is the promised video where I told you all that I'd examine how things in the infinite realm, the same things that when they're infinite, could look very different when they're in the finite realm. We were talking about this in connection with love, right? So God is love and we experience love, but the same thing that is love might manifest itself very differently because God is infinite, right? And we're going to talk about infinity a lot more on this channel because it's a hard thing for us to grasp in all God's different aspects of being infinite, right? He has no limitations, and especially his eternity, his infinity of eternity, his relationship to time. We'll be talking about that later. But in the video, which I'll put a link in the description, we talked about how love might manifest itself differently in the infinite realm versus the material realm, and it be still love. And I think that's easy to see because God is all gift love. He doesn't need anything. So all his love is just not from him needing anything. It's just pure gift. He gives himself fully to the Son gives himself fully to the Father, and that produces the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit pours himself out upon us as love because the Holy Spirit is love. So it's total gift. He's not receiving anything. It's totally unselfish. But in the human realm, most our love is not gift love. It's need love, right? Love is, in the human condition, love very often comes from our poverty. We need God's love. And sometimes we give gift love back to him. We love him for who he is, but it's just not true that and it wouldn't be good. It'd be a diabolical illusion, as C.S. Lewis says, if we thought all our love for God was just pure gift love, or thought that that was a desirable thing. No. When love comes into the finite realm, we're finite beings, a lot of it's going to be need love, and that's not a bad thing. Look, when God himself became into the finite world as Jesus in the incarnation, he had a lot of need love. First of all, he had need love for his Father, in as much as he was a human being, but also he had for his Father in heaven, but he had need love for Mary, just like any baby does. He did need a Mary to take care of him, and Joseph. So he had that need love. So when the gift love of God comes into the mortal picture, the love is going to manifest itself as need love in many ways. So we talked about that, but what I wanted to talk about more in this video is a different aspect of God that a lot of times trips up Christian apologists, or when we as Christians are trying to explain our faith, we get confused on this distinction between an attribute in its infinite form and its finite form, and it leads us into some difficulties. So this is a cautionary tale to Christian apologists and evangelists not to fall into this trap. So one of the things that Christians are often challenged on, and I'll do more videos on this, of course, because it comes up over and over, is the problem of evil, right? If you have a good God that's infinitely powerful and infinitely good, why is there suffering? Why is there evil? This kind of thing. And very often, one of the responses of Christian apologists is like, well, if you want free will, then you're gonna have evils, right? Because people can abuse their free will. That argument can be good in some ways, but here's some objections that a clever atheist or non-believer or agnostic might come up with that I don't think are satisfactorily answered. And I'll give some thoughts on how we could do better answering them. So first of all, it's not apparent to me, and I don't think it is true, that you need the possibility of evil for free will to operate. There's many reasons for this, but just think about it. I can choose between two good things, and that's still free will. Now, it is true that as a Christian, I believe, and there are reasons for this belief that we could go into, that God does, by allowing evil, will bring out a greater good. But that doesn't mean he couldn't have created a world with free will that didn't have any evil. He can do whatever he wants. He's completely powerful. He could do that. There's no logical contradiction there. But also this objection that, oh, if you want free will, well then a smart atheist will of course say, well, doesn't God have free will? Isn't he free? So is he free to do evil? But a Christian knows there's no evil in God. So does that mean God is less free than human beings because he can't choose evil? He never will? Well, this brings us to how things are different when it's infinite and when it's finite. The more free you are, the more you're able to choose what you should choose, what you want, what is really good for you, really good for your nature, and fulfills you. We talked about this in another video, that one form of freedom is getting rid of constraints. Nothing stopped me. Well, God's completely free in that way. But another way of freedom is being able to choose the thing that is good for me, the thing that I really ought to choose. So at its maximum, freedom and necessity are, I would agree with C.S. Lewis. He says that they're the same at their pinnacle, probably the same. And that's true. So if God is infinitely powerful and infinitely wise, and he is, so he's omnipotent, he's omniscient, he knows everything, he knows what is good completely. So he's completely free to choose whatever is good. So what manifests in our finite nature is being able to choose between these different things, and we're free to do that. In God's own nature, freedom manifests as he always knows what's good and can always choose it, nothing can stop him, and always does choose it. Freedom and necessity are the same there. There doesn't have to be any option of evil. There's no admixture of evil for God. There's no, you can't have this ridiculous idea that you can't have light without darkness. That's not true. You can't have darkness without light, but you could have just light, and God is just light, and there's no evil, and there's no frame around him where he needs evil. Evil's not needed in any way. So I just think we need to be a little bit more careful when we're saying, hey, we need free will, and that leads to the possibility of evil. Well, obviously, it can lead, the abuse of free will can lead to the possibility of evil, and one of the reasons this is because we're not omniscient, and we're not totally free in what we choose. So we can choose what evil is I'm choosing the wrong way to get a good that I want. And I know it's wrong or it wouldn't be evil. I'm seeing some good thing that I want. I'm like, okay, I'm going to choose this lesser good. But if we were, that's because we're finite that we can do that. If we were infinite, like God is, if there was no limitation, there would be no question of choosing a lesser good or a less good way to get a good or an evil way to try to get a good. Because we try to get a good in all our actions, even evil actions. There's some good we're trying to get. We don't actually receive that good. We're choosing this lesser good. But if you're infinite, there's no possibility of that. So we need to be careful when we're talking about freedom. In finite creatures does allow the possibility of evil, but freedom in and of itself and free will doesn't require that there could be evil. I hope that was helpful to you. You have a good day. God bless. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the like button and drop a comment down below. If you really liked it, consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification so you never miss a video. If you want to help me produce more great videos just like this, please support me on Locals. There's a link in the description, and that you'll get all sorts of good benefits for being a part of our Locals community, and you'll help me produce these great videos. Thank you so much.